Shut up and sit down.
Hello, I'm Bill Webb. Welcome to the Quarterback Room powered by Sports One. Our guest today was a 10-year veteran and Pro Bowl quarterback in the NFL, 6 years for the Arizona Cardinals and 4 for the Denver Broncos. He's best known for his All-American season and run to the Rose Bowl while at Arizona State, winning the Cardinals' first playoff game since 1947 and breaking John Elway's franchise records while taking the Broncos to the AFC Championship game in 2005. In December 2019, he was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Today, he enjoys life after football and is co-founder of Ready List Sports, a web-based interactive playbook used in high school, college, and pro football. Jake Plummer, welcome to the Quarterback Room. It's great to catch up with you and spend a few minutes together.
Well, hey, Bill, I appreciate you having me, and it's a pleasure to be a guest on your show.
Well, let's start with your business and what's going on there. I mentioned Ready List. Tell us about that. What does the product do, and what's your role in that?
Yeah, thanks for asking me. It's been something I'd never sought out to be a tech entrepreneur. When I was playing ball, it never dawned on me really what I would, dive into when I was done. I knew I could find peace and happiness most anywhere I was, but opportunities come around every now and again, and especially right when you need it. And this one, a friend of mine, he was a rookie in '05. Kid out of Colorado School of Mines by the name of Chad Freehoff, who won the Harlan Hill Trophy, was a great football player. I tried to help him as best I could here in Denver. Years went by. He tried to make it in every league known to man and struggled to learn the playbook. So he came back to me about 6 years ago with a PowerPoint, 300-page slides, all these things about this idea and a concept about a playbook, a digital interactive playbook that utilizes all the learning styles to better suit, kids that struggle in different ways of learning, teaching them the nomenclature and the terms that are all the same thing you're doing on the field, but all different terminology. And as the game goes from team to team, that's all different. So we decided to go about creating a playbook that's an app that you can access anywhere, anytime on any tablet or phone. The coach can go in and draw a play in under a minute with our drawing tool. It's unbelievable what we've developed there, and then gives your kids a chance to study anywhere they want and take the test that's auto-generated right off the back end of those playbooks. So it's a really efficient way to not only consolidate and make a playbook, but then to be able to give it to your kids anytime, anywhere, and especially in this environment, with remote learning and the fact that, kids are going to get back to action soon, but it's still going to be limited time face-to-face, and, we're hoping to get the word out on it. We've been doing pretty good so far, and my involvement has been to open the doors, Bill, get those people's eyeballs on it that need to look at it, and obviously then my 2 cents as to how I would like to study and how I studied best and learned best. And so far we've been doing really good with Ready List Sports, and we're hoping to just continue to grow and find coaches that are interested in using the most advanced teaching tool on the market.
So obviously the user is the player, but is your customer the team?
Customer is the team, the coach that will want to put the playbooks in, and then the user. It's the coaches also. We had a coach that coached over in Australia who had his coaching staff that he took over there, and he had the playbook implemented, and he gave his coaches the test, and he ended up best score they got was 50%. So he was taking a whole coaching staff that was half cocked. They didn't know half the playbook. So, it's a way that for anybody really to get really quickly assimilated into a program's offense or their defense, to learn it as fast and efficient as you can. So the coaches can use it, obviously, and then, more suited, though, for the players to study more efficiently. And like I said, utilize multiple learning styles, visual, auditory, tactile learning. And as we advance more into voice recognition and some video additions, we're continue to just evolve this playbook to give players the best opportunity to go out there and raise their knowledge level so they can play fast and hopefully, stay healthy and safe and have fun out there while they're playing.
So obviously you can use it for offensive install, but can you use it for game planning each week as well?
Oh, yeah. The thing we try to do, these old modalities that are still being used are very redundant. You know, you have to redo things over and over and over, and it takes a NFL team typically a month or 2 months, depending on how, you know, well versed the QCs are, the quality control guys are at implementing the plays. We've cut that down to being able to install, you know, the Arizona Cardinals offense in 4 days with 3 technicians. So we've cut it down so that, you know, we're saving coaches a ton of time doing that redundant stuff that just, you know, eats up their time when they would rather be, you know, really game planning, breaking down an opponent on film, and then being able to coach their kids on how to beat their opponent across from them, or, hey, why we're running this, not just break the huddle and telling them where to line up and what to run. We want to take care of that. We want to help players be able to break the huddle and just go play fast. And so, yeah, it's a pretty multifaceted tool that so far, you know, we've got a lot of great reviews from pros all the way down to, you know, the 8-year-olds using it for 5-on-5.
Other businesses, I know maybe after the NFL you did a little bit of broadcasting. You still doing that? Was that interesting, or is it interesting?
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things, Bill, I said I would never do. And then, you know, as time went and I retired pretty young, and I didn't, like I say, I didn't plan to run a business or do anything really necessarily after the game except, you know, travel and start a family and be around and enjoy life. You know, the opportunity came around more out of that I needed something to do, to just have something to you know, challenge myself, to get myself back into the game a little bit, but also to, you know, read, do research, watch film. And it's something I love and I know a lot about is football. So it was an easy transition to go into doing some Pac-12 network stuff in studio, along with Sports USA, doing some games called live on the radio, which that was really a lot of fun. Doing that was a lot more fun than the TV because there's no camera. You could be barefoot in shorts and a T-shirt, and all you got to do is be talking ball. And so I did that for a little bit, and then as my family grew and the travel that it required got a little bit in the way, I stepped back from that and put a lot more of my focus into the ready list, trying to make sure we get this thing going. And then also just trying to be, you know, present and be a good dad to my children and a good husband to my wife.
Well, speaking of fun, I know one of the things that you've enjoyed for a long time is handball. I've read a lot about you and how you started, you know, when you were very young and got more serious about it. I'm assuming that was something that you did while you were playing, and it's certainly something that you took very seriously and got really good at after you quit playing. Are you still playing? What role has that played in your life?
Yeah, you know, it's funny you ask. I just played about a week ago, and I've been nursing a sore foot. So I waited for a while. I thought, let me go out here and try to play some handball, and I did. And I played really well, and I'm feeling good, but then my foot just kind of swelled up. I got something going on. So as much as it's a fun game and I love it, and if my body allowed it, I'd play it every day. It is a rough sport, you know, the twisting, and I actually was playing outdoors here in Boulder at the outdoor 3-wall court. So you're playing on concrete. So, you know, I've lightened up. I'm limber. I'm loose. I feel good, but my foot just said, not yet, buddy. You can't play any handball. But it's a great sport. I attribute and give credit to a lot of my, you know, athletic prowess and the ability to be real spatially aware, mentally tough, and also, you know, able to move in any direction at any time. Hand-eye coordination for sure. I attribute a lot of that, those skills, being honed on the handball court as a youngster growing up, playing against my brothers and with my dad. I did it a lot in the off season. It became a big training component in my off seasons here in Denver. There's a large contingent of handball players here. And so I can recall one time coming into April 1st, our first conditioning drills that we had to come back to as a team in Denver, and everyone's bent over, so, you know, gagging, you know, dry heaving, just dead tired. And I was standing there looking around like, what's going on? And the weight coach, Rich Tootin, said, what have you been up to? And I said, I've just been playing handball, man. That's all I've been doing. And it's just a great cardio sport. It's a lot of fun. I like to say it's like taking your dog to the dog park. You know how much fun he has chasing the tennis ball? Well, just think about me chasing around a little blue ball on the court, and that's what handball is for me. It's just a release. It's a get out there and chase around the ball and just try to get the ball back last and have a blast doing it.
Let's go back to your athletic years, especially your early years. You know, a lot of the people that listen to our show are young athletes and their parents. And we hear a lot about specialization. You were a 3-sport star in high school, and you were obviously good at football because you went on, but you also played, I think, baseball and basketball. Were you good enough to play those sports in college, or was it pretty clear you were going to be a football player?
Yeah, pretty clear that my best route to getting a scholarship was football. I had a couple small colleges looking at me for basketball and like D3 type stuff, and then I remember getting a letter for baseball from a couple colleges, but it was something. My summers were spent in North Idaho at my dad's, so I didn't play summer baseball a lot. Rather, I would be out on my bike, swimming, playing hoops, playing handball, playing tennis with my brothers. We'd play home run derby. I mean, we were out playing all the time, so I never really spent time focusing and honing in on any one sport, to be real honest. My brothers were awesome. They wanted to play catch all the time. They loved running routes. They loved involving me. So for me, it was just a continuation of, where we're in football season, I'd come home sometimes and my brother would have the baseball mitt out. So we'd go play catch with the baseball. We never left any sport necessarily, but when we were in the season, we were fully committed to that sport. Unlike today where you got a lot of kids playing baseball and doing 7-on-7 at night. I think, wow, that's really not what you should be doing, but you wouldn't have been able to stop me either when I was a kid. I would have loved to go out and throw the football on the screen, throwing dimes on the football field is one of my favorite things to do. So I think kids that play all the sports, it's a really good idea. You don't learn how to quarterback by just quarterbacking, and you can build a QB and to be a robot, but I think as a quarterback, you really got to be an athlete. And even as a football player, the more athletic you are, the better suited you are to avoid injury and to go out there and really challenge yourself and succeed at anything, because you've done so many other movements and you've played other sports and you've overcome the mental challenges that those sports present, which make it easier to get over any other type of hurdle you have to get over when you're trying to get better at any sport. So football was my meal ticket. I knew it was a chance to save my parents money and get a free education, and not a free education, but get a scholarship to go play. So that's where, my senior year, I still played all 3 sports. Kind of regret not running track that last year too, just because it was the last chance to really be an amateur athlete playing for your high school. And I encourage kids to play them all when you can. Do everything you can. And if you can't play for your varsity, get a badminton set or get a tennis racket or do something active, just because, you can enhance your skill set for football by playing other sports for sure.
Are you a fan of 7-on-7 for a quarterback?
I am. I think it's really good. The only problem is I don't know how much the QBs learn about technique and fundamentals, which to get to the next level, when I got to ASU, I knew enough about it, but I had Bobby Petrino that he railed me and taught me and just drilled me as much as he could to learn defenses, learn coverages, learn where the guys would be. And then as I progressed through college, Hugh Jackson was a coach who my junior year, my drop, we honed my drop and my mechanics. And after that, then I felt like, okay, I'm a real quarterback now, where, 7-on-7 is less rhythm. It's less real, like what a football play is. You drop back, you go 1, 2, 3. I think 7-on-7 can be like that if it's coached well and if the players know what to do. But otherwise, it's good. Kids are moving, kids are playing. You're avoiding contact rather than contacting other players. So I think you're getting in position, yet you're still avoiding those big, huge collisions that have been the reason why football has gotten the black eye of being, a damaging sport. So I think there's good to 7-on-7. Ask Drew Brees. He didn't play much football except 7-on-7 up until about high school. So, it can be done where you get out there and just learning, lanes and having working on your vision and having an arm and throwing it. Like I said, I would have loved playing 7-on-7 in high school if I'd had the opportunity. I'd have been doing it as much as I could. So I think it's good for kids just to be active and out there playing and having fun no matter what they're doing.
So let's talk about your time at Arizona State. You went there, and I think you became a starter sometime in your freshman year. You stayed there the whole time, started the whole time. You had some great experiences there, but, we don't hear as much these days of a quarterback going somewhere and playing for 4 full years as a starter. Was that sort of the plan when you went there? Did you know you had an opportunity to start as a freshman?
I didn't know that I would, but I felt like there was a chance. Bruce Snyder was the head coach there that recruited me. And out of all the coaches that recruited me and all the teams that sent me letters, and, when it came down to it, I had a really nice 5 colleges that I was looking at as my top 5 choices. And ASU and Washington State kind of were the last 2 on that list when it came down to making the final decision. And Bruce Snyder, whether he was, I'm pretty sure he meant it because we almost pulled it off, that he looked me in the eye and said, if you come to Arizona State, we feel you're a big piece of the puzzle to help us make it and win a national title. And no other coach said that about me. No other coach believed that much in me. And that was a huge confidence boost for me coming out of Boise, Idaho, a state that I was the one D1 football player that year that came out of that whole state. So it was a real big boost of confidence. And when I got there, I earned the backup role in a hot competition against what now is one of my best buds, Jason Verdugo. And halfway through the year, I got the starting job, and I never looked back. I recall after Washington State, and I did get the reins handed to me coming out of halftime. We lost that game, and we almost pulled off a comfort behind victory against the number 1 defense in the country. And afterwards, we were flying home, and a lot of the players were laughing and not taking it real seriously. And for me, I didn't go there to get, free food on the plane and I have a good time whether we win or lose. I went there to win a national title to see if Bruce Snyder was telling me the truth. And so I stood up in the team meeting that next day and voiced my opinion about that and said, we need to do this now for the seniors. And, that was a leadership quality I had that was unselfish, and no one told me to do that. But I felt like, if you're going to do this, let's not laugh about a loss. Let's be a little bit pissed off and make it worthwhile. If you're here, let's get serious about this. Those seniors to this day love me to death because I wanted to do it for them, and I took those reins and never looked back. Was lucky to play in the time I did because there were a few stretches there where I probably would have been benched. And, where I didn't play well for a few games or a couple games in a row. And in today's environment, those kids usually they don't have a couple bad games and you get benched. And that next kid gets a chance, and he's going to be really good, most likely. So I was lucky to get those 4 years. What culminated that senior year was so special with that group of guys and how we put all the work in. And we almost won a national title. Bruce Snyder wasn't lying. We came mere seconds away from being national champs, and it was an amazing run.
I know one of your teammates and good friends at Arizona State was Pat Tillman, and for our younger listeners, and he was a tremendous football player. He left the game, went and served in the military. Incredibly, he was killed by friendly fire at a really young age, and just a true hero in every sense. And I know he had a big impact on you. What are your memories of Pat as a teammate and as a friend?
Yeah, Pat was tremendous. Very extraordinary human. Just lived life to the fullest and challenged himself and those around him always to be better, do better, strive for better, be better, and not sit around and be complacent. Pat, in the offseason, Cardinals, I remember they wanted him to gain weight. So instead of, doing what they wanted him to do, which was get in the weight room and put on pounds, he trained for a marathon. And he ran a marathon. Why? Because he wanted to. And it didn't hurt him on the field. It just made him more mentally tough, and that was just Pat. He did what he wanted to do. He had a plan, so much so he told Bruce Snyder when Bruce sat him down as a freshman up at Camp Conazona and said, we want to redshirt you, son, and, give you a year to get your feet under you and academics. And Pat looked at him and said, well, if you redshirt me, then I'm only going to get a play for 3 years for you because I'm out of here in 4 years. So you'd be better served to not redshirt me because I'm leaving after 4 years. And that was just him, he set his mind to something, and he'd do it. He was a tone setter. He was a great teammate. But really what sets him apart was just what an amazing friend he was. He really cared about his friends and his close circle. And, he called me to check on me before he deployed for his last deployment over in Afghanistan before he got killed. I'd gone through a life-changing moment and was kind of having a tough time with it. And he knew. And so he called to check on me before he left. And that just goes to show what kind of friend he was. I should have called him or been calling him, but he was checking on me. And that was just Pat. There's so many people out there that'll tell you, they maybe had one conversation with him on campus or at the grocery store, but he left an indelible impression on people. and really was a special guy. So I was blessed to have him in my life, and he motivates me every day to just be a better man and try to make sure if I say I'm going to do something, then damn well better do it, because that's how Pat lived his life.
When you have something like that happen in your life and you lose someone like that, it can either motivate you or send you straight down. Which did it do for you?
It motivated me, but it also made me really look at life. Pat was gone now, a guy that just was tremendous and all he did, and now he was gone. And, I always say the saddest thing is that he didn't have a chance to have some kids, because that kind of gene you want passed on, right? So that, along with, I was wondering what he was going to do when he got back from the military. Like what was going to be Pat's next thing or next 5 things. The guy could have been, anything he wanted to be. He just had that ability. And, he motivated me for sure to really get it done. I wanted to win a Super Bowl. That's why I played football. That's why, that dream lived on as long as it did. So it really motivated me in my 9th year there in 2005 to just get going, live life and have fun, but also let's make this happen on the football field. And we almost did the Super Bowl that year. Along with his motivation, his death also got me thinking about, how long do I want to do football? There's more to life than just playing this game. I also want to be healthy and have my mental capacities along with my physical abilities when I get done. So how long do I push this? Because Pat was gone now, so he didn't have a chance to play more or not play. And I just made you just think a lot, look at life, and make sure that you're doing what you really love to do. Because I tell you right now, Pat did what he wanted to do. And if it made people mad, hey, so be it. In practice, he'd forget it was practice and he'd hit you if you came across his zone. But I didn't get mad about that. He was just like, that's how he carried himself in life, 100%. Go get it with a lot of passion. And, I miss a guy like that, but, his impact on so many people around the entire world is amazing. And to have known him closely is a true honor.
You had some fantastic years. Your last year at Arizona State was a great year. You went to the Rose Bowl, Pac-10 Offensive Player of the Year. You got drafted. I'm curious, did you know who was going to draft you, or did you find it out when they called your name?
Yeah, I had no idea, really. I was hoping to go to San Fran, but they took Jim Druckenmiller with the first pick. And back then, they didn't take 6'2", 195-pounders in the first round. So I didn't know if Kansas City they were really hot on my track, but then they signed Elvis Gerback as a free agent. So I knew that was out of the books, most likely. And then I had no idea if Arizona would draft me. But to be honest, I was tired. I'd been having some fun with my family, and I'd been out early that morning golfing, and I was ready to take a nap. So I went and laid down in the hotel room my agent had, and actually was nodding off into nap land when I got drafted by the Cardinals. So for me, it was kind of a formality. I knew that, hey, I'd now gotten one step. I was now on the doorstep of my dream to win a Super Bowl. So I didn't care who drafted me. I just wanted that opportunity to go play with the best in the world and see if I could hang with them. And being a Cardinal was great, easy transition. My first game starting there, I threw 4 interceptions. And each time coming back on the field, I got cheered and standing ovation. So that doesn't happen in New York City. But in Arizona, I had a lot of good fans that loved me from my Sun Devil days. So they gave me a little bit of a leash. They gave me some leeway to kind of grow and become the player I was there. So it was great. Just like I said, just to be on an NFL team with that logo, that was just, like I said, my dream was now reachable. And it was a great thrill to get drafted by the Cardinals.
You had 6 great years there. Then you wound up signing a free agent deal, I think, with Denver, and really had a great time there. But ultimately you wound up, I think, after 4 years being traded to Tampa Bay, and there's the legendary story of John Gruden, coming to the Northwest and meeting you, I guess, in a bar and trying to do everything you could to talk you into playing, but you just decided not to. What was behind that decision?
Well, you talked a little earlier, when Pat got killed, and I started looking at life and, like how long was I going to play this game, and how long was I going to subject myself to the mental beatings and the physical beatings, and just, it's a rough sport. So, after that 2005 season, I really was hoping to win the Super Bowl that year and then retire. I had plans to be done then, but I came back to that 10th season. And after that season, I ended up getting benched late in the year for Jay Cutler. And at first I was really, really stung and was not the greatest teammate and didn't handle it well. But then I kind of eased into it and realized I got to be ready if my chance comes again to lead this team that's still my team. So I actually had a really good time those last 5 games of the year where I was not QB number one. I could relax a little bit. The food I could actually eat without having an upset stomach or have to choke it down just because I knew I needed food in my body and my belly to function. And I was a much more happy, relaxed person those last little bit. And it gave me a chance to really enjoy what I'd done, to go to the stadium early and walk the field and smell the grass and smell the hot dogs and feel the energy and look around and just go, man, I did this for 10 years. This is unbelievable. And then at that point, I was ready to retire. My body was really hurting. I was on anti-inflammatories all the time. I just got tired of that, the beating. And I also really got tired of, the feeling of never being good enough. That was really hard for me because I put my heart and soul into the game. I tried all the time, 100%, but I just never was quite good enough for the coaches here in Denver. Never quite could make them happy. And at that point, I just felt like 10 years, that's a good number. It's time for me to retire, get married, have a family, travel the world a little bit, and enjoy life and all it has to offer. The Tampa deal is interesting because I retired and told Shanahan I'm done. And he said, yeah, whatever, and hung the phone up on me, and then he traded me to Tampa. But Bill, in the NFL, it's all business, it's bottom line. With that trade, Denver got a sixth round pick, but Tampa got me if I was to go down there and play, which I told them I'm done. I'm not playing. I'm getting married on August 26th, so I'm not going to be down in your camp because I'm getting married. But it was a chance for Tampa to then reclaim that bonus money. So they either got me or they got $3 million of unclaimed bonus money that Bolin didn't want. So, it was a business move by Tampa and also by Mike here in Denver. But I didn't care, man. I have no regrets at all. It was easy to move up to North Idaho with my wife, play a ton of handball, travel the world, just have no stress really about a game. And I was able to see my family and friends, and I don't have any regrets. Now, if you watch me run around and play handball and be active, you would look at me and say, man, you were a smart man to retire when you did, because I feel great. My body's in great shape. I don't have any real hardcore lingering injuries that limit my ability to have fun and enjoy my kids and hike and bike and play handball. So no regrets from this old quarterback. I'm enjoying life.
Well, that's great to hear. So nothing's typical about the coronavirus, but sort of outside the last couple of 3 months, what's a typical day like for you these days?
Yeah, I try not to ever work all day. Not that I'm lazy, but I like to get the work done and have some fun. We live here in Boulder, Colorado, so I try every day if I can, get out on a bike ride or get out into the mountains or go down and hike by the creek, either by myself or with the kids and my wife. But we've been homeschooling our kids, and then I was working from home also with the Ready List because it's a job that I could do from home, making phone calls, being on some Zoom meetings already prior to the COVID. We did a lot of Zoom meetings because of the budget we were working on to not be able to fly everywhere to meet these coaches. So it hasn't changed a whole lot. My day-to-day is basically, get up and try to read a little bit, whether it's learning something or a good book or even some self-help, self-care type stuff, do a little meditating and visualization, and then, spend a little bit of time with my kids. And then I love to work in the yard. I like to do landscaping and just be outside. So I try to do a little bit of that. And then, like I said, whatever pops up. I'm on a lot of podcasts. I am doing a podcast right now with a buddy, talking about the mental side of the game and just, what it takes to be a leader and overcoming adversity. And then other than that, just having a great time with my kids. I love to cook also. So cooking food is a lot of fun for me. I like to cook dinner for me and my wife, and sometimes my kids eat it, sometimes they don't, but I don't take that personally because they're young and someday they'll love old daddy's cooking. So for now, though, it's just about, being happy. It's tough to get back into normalcy when you've been at a high level playing high level football where I was the focus of attention. I mean, the Broncos organization, I was, number 2 or 3 on the list of important people in that whole organization for 4 years. And when you step away from that, it's a really tough transition, and life can be a little boring compared to that life. But you can assimilate back to finding joy in the little things that you have to do daily, and finding what makes you happy. I kind of reverted back to being a 12-year-old lately, where what did I like to do when I was 12? I loved to go on bike rides. I loved to go climb trees. I loved to go out and walk around mindlessly wherever my walk took me. And I loved playing sports, shooting hoops, that kind of thing. So that's what I've been doing a lot lately, just trying to rekindle that spirit of a 10, 11, 12-year-old, because it really helps me be a better person and be happier, and my kids and my wife and everybody. We're having a good time. And again, in this trying time and the concern we have for so many other Americans and people worldwide, we've been pretty unaffected by this whole thing. So we're really blessed and thankful for that.
Well, that's fantastic. One last football question. Who's the quarterback or two out there in the league or even in college right now that, number one, excites you, and number two, is there anybody out there that sort of reminds you of the way you played?
Yeah, I got to revert back to Johnny Manziel. I loved watching that kid play in college. I really wish he'd have made it in the NFL just because he had such a crazy style of playing the game. He played a lot like myself, where whether it was a good or bad trait, you felt like every play called could be that play. So we never gave up. I never gave up on a play and try to make guys miss and keep doing something to keep that play alive. So I loved watching him play. More recently, Patrick Mahomes is really, I think, if the NFL could do anything justice to him, they would hand over about a third of their revenue to him, because I think he saved the game a couple years ago. And then even this year, just watching him battle injuries, and then his sure will and his ability to motivate and his abilities to just make amazing throws and plays. He's a joy to watch. I would love to have a game like him. I know I did a few things like him, but man, he's just one of the most pure athletes I've ever seen behind center. I love watching him play. Lamar Jackson also has been a joy to watch, but I'm not sure yet if he's quite the thrower Mahomes is. But I know one thing, Lamar will work hard. He used the ready list at Louisville back when Bobby Petrino coached him. So, he's a smart kid. He knows his stuff. And, I like those guys a lot. Any QB that I can watch that fights through adversity and never gives up and doesn't just sit on the sideline, but is passionate like Phillip Rivers. It means something to them. Those are the guys I like to watch. And I have to say, I'm really excited about Jaden Daniels, the young quarterback there at ASU. He's 6'2", 174 pounds this year. That's what I came in as a freshman. So he's a kindred spirit. He's skinny, he's scrappy and wiry, and he loves playing ball. And I'm really excited to watch him progress through his career at ASU and see if he can take them to the Rose Bowl and maybe beyond.
Well, speaking of Ready List, if someone wants to learn more about Ready List Sports, how can they do that? Yeah,
ReadyListSports.com. That's Ready and then List, List, sports.com. You can go on. There's some videos and a little, information on there. And any coaches listening or parents listening that want to check it out and give your child the best chance to learn and know what he's doing, so that then it's just a matter of going out next season. Go check it out. We've kind of mastered the playbook, and we're only going to keep making it better. And thanks for that plug there. And anybody that wants a demo, you can sign up for a demo, and we're glad to look for anybody, especially down in Texas, man. That's where football lives strong, and we've sold to a lot of teams down there already, and so we're looking to keep building more clients and customers down there for anybody interested.
Well, Jake, thanks for being with us. We wish you and your family the best. Hope your foot gets better, and we really do appreciate your time.
Hey, Bill, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
That'll do it for this episode of The Quarterback Room, powered by Sports One. Thanks for listening.